Okay. Perfect, let's do it. The love.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being patient with our webinar this afternoon. We've had some technical hiccups here in our studio, and we're all ready to go now. And I'd like to blame Queensland for the delay, but we cannot. They were late, but they got you now. I'd like to introduce to you from the Choice Home Group, the marketing manager there, Ben Peasley. Ben, thanks for coming along and taking the time to come to head office this morning and being here today, even if you were late, and we'll be docking you for that.
Yes, Ron, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, as you know, Ben, ParkTrent and myself been a long associate of the Choice Home Group. In fact, I think the first homes I sold with Choice was some 25 years ago now.
Okay.
I wish I still had them.
Absolutely.
And they were somewhere in the order of 49,950. And we thought they were dear in those days. Yeah. So it goes to say that property prices over a period of time perform magnificently.
Absolutely right. Okay. For sure.
So thank you for coming down today and discussing Choice Homes and its wonderful products. It's a range of products, it's marvellous location, and also to be part of the ParkTrent Properties Group First Home Buyers situation and system that we're announcing today. It's wonderful. We're going to help and assist people wanting to start off and buy their first homes within Australia, all across Australia, not only Queensland where you operate in, but all across Australia. We're going to have some wonderful incentives for people to buy through the ParkTrent Properties Group.
Fantastic.
Okay, so tell me about Choice Homes. I know I've been there in recent days and been through many of your displays, and they're just wonderful. And I want to congratulate you and the team for that.
Thank you so much.
In fact, I went there with an open mind and a notebook, and I was going to write down some things of concern, such as which way this placed, and the kitchens and the cabinets and the bathrooms, the lighting and the flow-through ventilation. I couldn't find a mistake with your properties. Was it special just for me that day, or is this what you do normally for everybody?
We were pretty excited about you visiting us, Ron, for sure. But our display homes, I guess everyone wants to continue to improve, and our display homes we do put at the forefront there, and we put a lot of time and energy and love into our displays.
Yeah, I see that. And is that naturally that's followed through into when somebody buys a home through Choice, they get the same kind of finishes and the same quality workmanship?
Yeah, absolutely. Our display homes are actually a standard home with standard inclusions. So the only thing different between our display home and a display home that we build for our loving clients is furniture. That's the only difference.
The furnishings. Okay, so when you build a home for a client, say a ParkTrent, now we talk about ParkTrent investment client, what we see is what we get minus the furniture.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
And we've sold many of the over many years, and our clients are all very happy with them and performing magnificently. But today we're talking about a new pathway. We're talking about first home buyers. And as you know, each state and territory within Australia has special incentives provided thankfully and generously from our various governments and state and federal incentives. So they have the first home buyers grant and stamp duty concessions. So on top of that, ParkTrent is going to provide an additional $20,000 cash rebate.
Wow.
Payable on settlement.
Yes.
And also we'll pay for the legals, which can be a bit of a burden because the legals can be quite costly. And our solicitors that will be looking after it will arrange the first home buyers grant.
Yes.
Arrange the stamp duty concessions in the various states and territories. And then on settlement, we will provide a $20,000 cheque. And that cheque would be helpful to help furnish, put a little bit of extras into the home that they'll need.
Absolutely.
It takes a big burden. So this is something that we hope will be acceptable by our clients. We'll also do, if they so want to, arrange the finance for them at no cost. And we have a wonderful finance team at our Easy Plan Financial Services organisation, and they will organise the finance for them too. And we can assure them we'll get them the best possible rates available and give them the best possible structure available. One of the things that I find, Ben, and I don't know if you can maybe support my thoughts on this. Sure. A lot of people looking for their first homes today that I come across label over the location and the type of home. And I always think back to my first home that I purchased. I purchased the home that I could afford to buy.
Sure.
It wasn't necessarily the home that I wanted to buy. It wasn't in the location that I needed and wanted to live in. But what it was my first home. And I was able to use that home as a starting point to build my equities.
Sure.
And then I turned that home into an investment property and moved into another home. And over a 10-year period, I moved 3 times. And each time I elevated the cost and the quality and the location of the property that I purchased. And I was able then, after 10 or 12 years, to buy the perfect home that I wanted to settle in for the rest of my life, which I'm still in today. I've been in that home now for some 30 years.
Perfect.
So my message to our viewers today and people contemplating looking for their first home, let's get you organised and get you started. Let's get you into a home that you can afford, that doesn't put any financial stress on your current situation. And in a period of time, probably 2 or 3 years' time, and I think you'll agree, Ben, that home can be the equity to buy the next home.
Absolutely.
And that home could be their first investment property. So it's a lot of opportunity out there. All they need to do is take little baby steps first to move along.
That's exactly right.
And then we can help them and assist them with the second property as well, and the third property. But naturally on the second property, there's no incentives for that from the government or the stamp duty concessions.
Unfortunately not, right.
It gets a little bit more difficult when you
does.
buy the second
It
one.
does.
Yeah. So just tell me a little bit about Choice and your managing director, Troy, which I know very well. I regard him as a personal friend.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's the quality and how many properties you build a year and how many you deliver a year, how many you sell a year.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
So my problem is I probably talk too much. So it's over to you.
But you're a wealth of knowledge, so that's okay.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
So how many do you build a year?
Yeah, so we do have a tagline at Choice Homes, and that's a new home every day since 1993.
Since 1993,
Since
so every day,
1993.
so 300 plus a year?
Yes, so our sweet spot is between 300 to 500, 600 homes per year.
Right.
So that's our happy place.
That's your happy place. So you obviously have a lot of happy clients that keep coming back and referring you.
Absolutely.
That's how you build a good business, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, we actually get a new testimonial pretty much every couple of days as well. From usually at handover, Ron, is when people are at their absolute happiest. So I'm sure you'd find that too.
No, like everyone that we've taken up to Queensland, not only look at your homes, as you know, we do other business with other builders in Queensland, because we've sold many thousands of properties in South East Queensland over the years. And one of the things that we find that when they go up, see the quality and also the value for money compared to what we can get in the Sydney Basin, they want to know, they come back and say, well, Ron, or my team, when can we buy another one?
Wow, that's fantastic.
When can we buy the second or the third one? So you're doing between 300 and 600 a year.
Yes.
And would most of those be on the investment side or the owner-occupier side?
It varies between estate to estate. We are more like around the 50-50 in this day and age.
50-50?
Yes.
And how do you see Queensland performing now in its own right? And then if you like a comparison about how Queensland is going to be performing against New South Wales and Victoria, which is the powerhouse states in this country.
Absolutely.
So Queensland is probably, you've got Sydney, which has been going like there's no tomorrow, and we've had a correction in the last 6 months of about a 10 or 12% adjustment in pricing, right. And Melbourne's had a correction in the last period of time about 10%.
Sure.
So we've seen those states, Victoria and New South Wales, roar their heads off and perform magnificently, but they've come back lately. But Queensland's been going along there quite steadily.
Yes.
And now I'm getting feedback from a lot of people that are in the industry to say that Queensland is now going to start taking off in leaps and bounds and maybe play a bit of a catch-up to the Sydney market and the Victorian market. Is that how you're feeling it?
I feel, firstly, Queensland has a lot to thank Sydney and Melbourne for. There's been a lot of momentum in the southern states, and what's not to love about 300 days of sunshine per year. So the thing about Queensland is opportunity. There's now opportunity. There's now growing infrastructure. We had the Commonwealth Games last year, which was an incredibly exciting event. It really put us on the map on a worldwide stage, and we're getting a lot of progress there as well with a lot of new shopping centres and infrastructure that's happening in the southeast.
And also, I believe the light rail has now been expanded north a long way up, and also
Yes.
there's talk about it going right down to the airport at Coolangatta.
It is, yes. That's been a hot topic in southeast Queensland and the Gold Coast.
So how far north will it go then?
It actually goes out at the moment and meets up at basically the station that's there at Helensvale at the moment.
Oh, so that's a major interlink station, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's already hooked up to Helensvale at the moment, and it's working its way down in the south now to Burleigh on the Gold Coast, and it will make its way to the Gold Coast Airport.
So I could get on the tram, light rail at Broadbeach, go to Helensvale, go to the airport.
Absolutely.
And that would take me, what, half an hour or so?
Around about, 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
And I could do that on my Opal card?
Yes, pretty much, yeah.
Because I have a seniors card.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And the other thing that's important here, we've got an election coming up very shortly,
Yes.
and it's neck and neck between the Labor Party and the Liberal Party, and
It is.
Labor's done a reasonably good job up there.
Yes.
And there's a lot of, what would you say, infrastructure spending proposed from both parties.
Yes.
And you're going to see a massive increase in jobs up there because of this infrastructure spend that
Yes.
they're talking about, particularly in the northern part of Queensland where the coal mines are. I'm really pleased to see that places like Mackay now and Gladstone
Absolutely.
are starting to perform magnificent again,
They are.
because they had a bit of a lull and the property prices came back there
They definitely did.
when all
for
that
sure.
infrastructure was built.
Yes.
But now they're seeing there's newer opportunities up there with the gas exploration and also some of the coal mines that might come online because of the Adani situation.
Absolutely, for sure. It's an exciting time in Mackay. We spend a lot of time in Mackay as well, and the feeling that we're getting from the locals in Mackay is, definitely it's really seen its lowest point. And Matusik, with his property clock that he brought out only a couple of weeks ago, had Mackay on the upswing once again, which is
Lovely.
Which is great to see.
I must admit I've spent a lot of time in Mackay, and they always had trouble getting accommodation up there.
Yes.
So it was nice to go back in a bit of a lull there, because I got my accommodation, got a good room at a very good rate. So before it was no rooms available and a high rate if you could get one.
Absolutely, and no hire car either.
No hire car, that's right, yeah. So if we come back to what this webinar is about today, and we've got many, many people viewing in from all over Australia and also overseas. Can you tell me this? With the first home buyers, what is the main ingredients that they need to get them or help them make a decision to buy a property? Is it location, price, type of home? What do you find is the most important thing? I'll see if we can cater for those things.
Yeah, I find it's opportunity for progress and opportunity for employment. So what we find a choice from our research, Ron, is typically if they can be within, say, 40 minutes to an hour of a reasonably well-paying job. And that's what's really exciting about the northern end of the Gold Coast, being Brisbane, only, say, 40 minutes to the north, and then you've got the key part of the Gold Coast around about half an hour to the south. So definitely employment is a key driver.
Yeah.
And also it really is about, I guess, what they can get for their money, how they can get into the market and what they can get for their money.
Yeah, well, and a lot of those people now, and we're experiencing in the Sydney and the Melbourne, Victorian area, is the rents are so high.
Yes.
Rents are so high, so in most cases the rent that the first home buyer are currently paying for the rental property would more than likely cover the total mortgage on a brand new home, which they would own.
Yes.
They would own all the future capital appreciation of that home.
Definitely.
And then build up their equity so they can buy a second property and a third property.
Yes.
And lift their portfolio. So with Choice Homes, and the reason why we've aligned ourselves with Choice and a couple of other larger builders in Queensland is because we wanted to cater for all the locations.
Sure.
We want to have properties available in this area, that area, and whatever. So when we get an inquiry comes in, we will send out to that client a questionnaire. Where would you like to buy? What type of home would you like to buy? Give us 4 areas that you would consider as an option. Then what type of home? Then what we would do, we would assess that information, come back to your marketing team, say that we've got Bill and Barry Smith from Burpengary that are looking to buy a home in Morayfield.
Yes.
And this is the type of home. What have you got in that area? and then give us the pricing, the types, whatever. We would send that back to the client then, and if they're happy with that, we would then make an appointment for you guys to get together, the client and the builder to get together and work out the finer details. Is that bedroom right? Is that door in the right place, etc.? Because you can massage the plans for them, can't you?
Absolutely can, right.
And do the colours and selections as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I can always remember going back in Queensland, and I think my viewers would be very happy with this. We sold a house there to a client at Caboolture, and the client rang me up, a beautiful client, and the client said to me, Ron, have you seen my house? And I said, no. Well, it's a Dalmatian. I said, oh, come on, what's this? It's a Dalmatian. And I said, it can't be. So I said, look, I'm going to Queensland next week, and the builder, and you wouldn't mind me saying, was Phil Burns, the builder up there in Caboolture. Wonderful friend of mine. And I drove around the corner, and sure enough, there was this Dalmatian. It was white and black brick. And I rang Phil. I said, Phil, how can this happen? How can you build this house with these bricks? He said, well, you wouldn't want to know, mate, would you? They dropped the wrong package of bricks at the wrong house, and the builder didn't look at them. They just built them. The brickies just put them in. He said, so we've got this Dalmatian house, and it was genuinely a Dalmatian house. So guess what Phil Burns had to do? He had to render that house at no cost.
Yes.
So our client won handsomely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not going to happen to Choice, is it?
No, never has, never will. but you do hear stories like that from time to time.
Amazing.
Not from us, but you definitely hear stories like that.
The bricklayers must have had hangovers, I should imagine.
Maybe they did. No comment there, Ron.
So what we're going to do, Ben, is we're going to follow through with inquiries from our clients. We're going to advertise this on a whole lot of social media sites that we have, get it out there, and we'll be sending out the clients the questionnaires, as I say. They'll come back in. We'll then forward that on to you. We'll find out what you've got available. We'll send that back to the clients. I'll say, yes, we're interested in talking to Choice Homes, and then we'll make an appointment for them to come in and meet you at one of your displays in the areas.
Perfect.
Do you think it'll work?
I think it's great. I'm so honoured that you've thought of us, and we're happy to be on board.
I must say, a managing director has been very helpful to our company over many, many years, and this is a kind of a repayment for him for giving us support over many years. He's been very flexible, building the houses for our clients and also looking after their needs. So when our client buys a property from ParkTrent, we will organise the first home buyers grant, we will organise the stamp duty concessions, and then we will do the legals for them, which will obtain all that for them, do the conveyancing for them at no charge, and then we will provide them $20,000. A pretty good arrangement, isn't it?
If I was a first home buyer, I would be jumping on that.
Well, it's something that you need to consider because it's in the marketplace.
Sure.
I understand that other people offering incentives, but this is a genuine incentive out there, and it gives them an opportunity to move a step forward to own their own home.
Absolutely.
We don't expect to sell everybody we talk to. We'd like to sell a number of them and help them out. So, do we have any questions? Do you want to add to what I've been saying?
Oh, yeah, sure, if I may.
Yeah, I do talk a lot.
You've got a lot of knowledge, so I love hearing what you have to say, Ron. So thank you.
So over to you, then.
Thank you. So I'd just like to add that Choice have been really active with going after the awards that are out in the marketplace. So the two governing bodies, you've got the Master Builders and the HIA awards. And every year we either win the HIA award or the Master Builders award for the last 6 years.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, we won a Gold Coast Business Excellence Award in 2015. So not only do we do a lot of investment product and a lot of first home buyer product, we're also a multiple award-winning builder, and we just have a really good team, and we'd just love to talk to some of your clients.
Lovely, good as go.
No,
and I know that your tradespeople have been with you for many years, because I know some of those on a first name basis as well.
That's right.
Yeah, particularly your landscapers, and I must admit your landscaping is absolutely first class.
I will
Our
have
clients buy a home, even the first home, they will buy the home and it'll be full turnkey. And
Yes.
once they get the key,
Yes.
they don't have to spend any money on it.
That's exactly right.
Will the homes include the drapes and the blinds?
Yes, they will.
Okay, so the drapes and the blinds are included.
Yes.
Air conditioning?
Absolutely, yes.
Ceiling fans maybe?
Yes, definitely ceiling fans.
Beer in the fridge?
Possibly, depending on the client. No. Probably no beer in the fridge. Usually they like to buy us with the year. They're usually so happy by hand over time.
Oh, lovely. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so look, I've been doing a lot of research on Queensland because I have a number of investments up there as well myself over many, many years, and they perform magnificently, and I like Queensland. I might even settle there when I retire. The Queensland population today is just on 5 million. The South East Queensland, Brisbane area, 5 million people.
Yes.
And it's growing by 1.6%. But what's important for us all here today, last year in 17-18, the interstate migration from the other states and territories into Queensland was 25,400.
That's correct.
We're looking at a forecast this year for being in excess of 120,000. Now, what's driving that, I believe, is affordability and job opportunities.
Definitely.
But affordability and job opportunities as well. And congratulations to Choice to be creating the affordability, because you're a big player in that marketplace, and this is where it all stems from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, so what do we need to do now? We need to talk about, do we have any questions that we'd like to answer? And we certainly like to take them on board.
We've had a few questions come through. The first one is from Jessica. She's in Anstead in Queensland, and she said, I'm not sure if I have enough to purchase my own home. How will I know?
So Jessica, thank you for your inquiry, and it depends on what type of property you're going to be looking at. My suggestion is that you register yourself onto ParkTrent, parktrent.com.au, and we will send you out the inquiry application. That application form that we're going to send you will establish where you currently sit financially, and then we will come back to you and say, this is what you can do, this is what you need to be doing to make it work for you. So Jessica, please get onto parktrent.com.au and send that information through, and we'll certainly look after you in the first instance.
And we got one here for Ben.
Sure.
Yeah, someone's actually just interested to learn a little bit more about Choice themselves. It's just like, what kind of sort of infrastructural developments and what kind of areas are you guys utilising to take advantage of the developments taking place in South East Queensland?
Yeah, so the northern end of the Gold Coast is going through an extremely exciting time of progress and opportunity. Basically, you've got between, say, Coomera and Ormo, around about 800 million worth of development infrastructure that's taking place as we speak, and 8,000 in brand new jobs in that particular area. So we have the Yatala Enterprise area in the north, where we have our estate, Sovereign Estates at Ormo. There's a display home there.
And we've been there, yeah.
Oh, you've been to it? Yeah,
Yes,
excellent.
Excellent.
Off Gold Mine Road. Next we have down is Pimpama Village, where we have right next to that Pimpama City Shopping Centre, which opened up October of last year.
Well, we've sold probably in the Pimpama area, Omo area, 300 to 400 over the years there,
Wow,
properties in those
fantastic.
areas, and all our clients have done extremely well.
Yes, it's just such a good spot. That Pimpama Ormo area has been great for us.
Lovely.
Definitely.
And new shops are there, the schools are there, the road system's there, and as you say, that light rail's coming up now, really up to Helensvale, which is not too far away.
That's correct.
That
yes.
helps in the system, and you're right on the M1 highway up
Absolutely.
to Brisbane, and that's been expanded and upgraded, I believe, as we speak.
It is, slowly but surely, and the Westfield run opened up the end of last year at Coomera as well, which was fantastic.
And the Gateway Bridge is just absolutely magnificent. If you want to see a creation of engineering genius, you need to have a look at the Gateway Bridges in Queensland. It's something special, isn't it?
Absolutely, for sure. It's a very special spot. I am biased. It is a really nice playground to have for South East.
So I think the answer to the question is, look, Choice homes don't go where there's no infrastructure. They go where the infrastructure is. They're like the Westfields. They're like the Costco's. Where the Costco's and Westfields go, that's where Choice are going, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they follow the leaders.
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah, thank you. Any more questions?
So just assuming that someone put through an application and everything's gone through, they've got enough finance and they've gone out and met, Ben or someone who works at Choice and found the home that they want, how long does it actually take for that house to be built after they've sort of picked everything out that they want?
Yeah, sure. That's a fantastic question. So what happens is, once we have a client that is settled on the land, ready to go, we've fine-tuned the process through council. So there's always a delay in council. So we've got a process there that gets approvals through council, and on a Wednesday, the supervisor will get a pack of how to build the house, You're looking at around about 12 to 14 weeks from that
12 to
point
14
in time.
weeks from that point in time.
Yes.
So that's quite good. So if you say 4 to 5 months,
Yeah, around 4 to 5 months.
allowing for some weather. I know you say
Yes.
it doesn't rain in Queensland, but I have been there when it's been raining.
Absolutely, we do get rain.
So I'd say 4 to 5 months. So we can start a program now. They'll be in their home before Christmas this year.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a great time to start building right now.
And remember, you're going to have that extra $20,000 to buy that furniture to make that home a little bit more enjoyable and livable from the very first day. Nothing worse than going past the home and seeing sheets up covering the windows, etc. So you're covering the blinds, you're covering the air conditioning, you're covering the blinds, the drapes, the carpets, the ceiling fans, all those things are in there.
Absolutely.
Security screens, fly screens, that type of thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Fence done. Yeah.
All the landscaping.
Yes, all the landscaping for sure.
And with our $20,000, that money would be surplus to them to buy that little bit of special furniture that they'll need for the new home.
For $20,000, I think that's just such a great step
Thank
for
you.
a first home buyer.
Lovely. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, we got quite a few coming in. So what kind of changes are available to the buyer? Like what's the limitations of that? Can they change like the colour, like what the roofing's made of? Like what's the deal?
Yeah, so basically, because we have been around since our 26th year in operation, we have seen most floor plans and most facades that any buyer would want. Bearing in mind these are first home buyers, so we wouldn't want to go too extreme with what they can get. It's like you said earlier on, it's
Stepping
maybe
stones.
Stepping stones.
Yeah,
Stepping
we've got to
stones into the
remember
market.
that.
Yeah,
We've got to remember. To come back to the point there, I think this to simplify that answer is anything reasonable can be looked at.
Sure.
And the worst, we don't want to burden them with extra cost.
Correct.
So if there is something that is a cost there, that would be an option that they would have to take up themselves.
Absolutely.
But then they'd have to ask themselves, is it really necessary? Understanding this is a stepping stone. We just had a client come in that was buying their first home, and we had to change one of the doors from an opening door to a sliding door. And that was, the builder genuinely put that in for no cost at all. So little things like that can work for each and every.
Absolutely.
And choice will work with our clients.
Definitely.
Very
Absolutely.
flexible. I think the answer to the question is, let's sit down and talk. We can't do anything till we meet with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good as go. Any more questions?
Yeah, where are your display homes located?
Yeah, our display homes are located in the key growth areas. So we have Camelot in Coomera. We have 2 display homes there that have been extremely well received in the market. The state to the north after that is Pimpama Village.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have 2 displays there as well. And we've got a brand new display village opening up in 1st of September this
Yeah,
year.
I've seen that site, but remember, we've just sold a display for you, so that's gone.
Yes, you have actually. That's a really good one.
And we might say that we have some displays for your choice that are available for sale right now, which could be the first home buyers. They could move into them virtually straight away.
Yes.
Just need to organise the finance for them.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, so we have quite a number of homes, but we've just sold one, and in fact I've seen the deposit monies go through the last couple of days for you.
It's such a nice house as well.
Yeah.
I think as soon as we were talking about releasing that to the market,
We sold it.
Yes.
We had clients waiting for them, and I must admit I've put a bit of pressure on Troy, your managing director, to allow ParkTrent to sell the displays. I've told him he can go and build some more.
that was actually well received because he came and saw me and said, build more. So there we
He
go.
can build some more because they're wonderful things to sell to our clients because they can go in, they can feel and touch.
That's right.
And that's important. So you have, 6 or 7 displays at the minute?
Yes, we do, and that should hit maybe 10 by the end of the year.
So ladies and gentlemen, people watching, we've got Ben's commitment here that we can sell you the displays.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, this person can definitely spot a bargain. I live in another state. Do I still get the 20 grand?
Yes, certainly does. Each state and territory has different qualifications. You can certainly get the $20,000. Doesn't matter what state you reside in, it's where you buy. Each state and territory, as I say, have different incentive programs, but we will organise that for you, providing you have not owned a home before or your partner has not owned a home before. Your partner could not have, does not, if owned a home before, they do not qualify. And providing you're an Australian citizen, but your partner doesn't have to be an Australian citizen. One of the parties have to be an Australian citizen.
Correct.
Okay? So the states and the federal government are very generous with this incentive program. They want people to get in their own home. Not only are you building a home for yourself, most importantly, you're building Australia. This is what's so very important. And when you buy a home, you're creating all the work necessary for the building of that home and also the manufacturing materials. You become an investor in Australia.
Absolutely.
And this is so important. So you have a lot of responsibility, you viewers out there today. Get moving, get those your queries in for the application so we can start looking after you. Any further questions?
How does stamp duty work for first home buyers?
Well, stamp duty concession up to various purchase amounts, Ben, and I don't know if you're aware of it, but up to $650,000, it's zero stamp duty. However, that is prorated back there and you pay minimal stamp duty. So up to $650,000, and that would cover virtually every property that Troy is selling today in Queensland.
Correct.
Would be under that bracket, so they'll be stamp duty exempt. No stamp duty at all.
That's correct.
Yeah. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
I know, I've done my study here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Isn't it wonderful and exciting that in this wonderful country, Australia, we're agonising over buying a piece of real estate? And understand this is not available in many countries in the world. When you buy a piece of real estate in Australia, you own it forever. It's in your family for generations and generations thereafter. And what you need to do is understand the more real estate you control, I'm not talking about owning, the more real estate you control, the more financially secure you'll be in years ahead. And understanding for the people now in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s, it's never too late to get started. Get started as soon as you can, because the future in this country, Australia, is going to be more robust than anything we've ever experienced in the past. And the reason being that is, if you listen to last night's budget report from our Treasurer and also what the Labor Party are proposing in infrastructure spend, there's going to be many tens of billions of dollars of infrastructure spend over the next 5 to 10 years. That's wonderful, but it has a backflip for what we're doing, because the simple fact is, Troy, you have to buy materials.
Absolutely.
They'll become scarcer and more expensive. And I'm talking about materials like concrete, bricks, mortar, copper,
Even trades.
steel.
Yes.
And then you have to have somebody to put it together, the tradespeople. But you've also got a competitor out there now, and it's the government infrastructure spend.
That's very true.
They're competing for your skilled labour and also materials. So anybody sitting on the side today and saying, oh, I'm waiting till the market comes back a bit further, that's never going to happen. The market's at its bottom right now. You need to move quickly before this infrastructure spend gets more speed than what it's already got, because the infrastructure spend at the minute throughout Australia is in excess of 200 billion, and it will blow out to over 400 billion in the next 5 years. We're going to find it difficult to get trades.
Absolutely.
You're going to pay lots of money for it. And when you want a load of concrete in Melbourne now, you've got to wait a long time for it, because the government's taken it all up for the metro, etc., that's being built down there, and I should imagine the same thing's going to happen in Queensland.
Absolutely.
You're experiencing that already?
We're starting to see signs of that happening. Yeah. Obviously, the market has its peaks and troughs. You can start feeling some particular areas, and like the multiplier there of the materials beginning to happen, where the scarcity is beginning to become, I guess, come into play.
Yeah, and my understanding of the building industry is the annual increase period is in May of each year.
Yes.
When everybody looks at the cost of materials, and May each year is when they go up. So we're expecting substantial increases of maybe 10 to 15% on concrete, steel and bricks in May, which is only next month.
Absolutely.
Coming up there. So ladies and gentlemen, get in as quickly as you can, please. It's never going to be any better than this, and we've got all this incentive program. Understanding, if you can take the headache of the legals away from you, and we're going to be paying for those legal advice and the conveyancing, setting up the incentive programs with the government, the stamp duty concession, we're going to be doing all that, and you don't have to pay for it.
That's an incredible assistance.
And you get $20,000 at the end of the journey.
Fantastic.
Any further questions?
Just to sort of help people out and give people a bit of an idea what kind of deposit they're aiming for. What kind of price point does Choice Homes Development sort of start at?
For the Gold Coast, you're looking at the mid 400s.
400s?
Yes, and I guess the Park Ridge area, you're looking at around the low 400s there, like the 420s and above.
So Park Ridge is around Logan, Ipswich, that area?
Yes, it's I guess it's its own little area there between those two spots. Yeah.
Now, with that whole growth corridors that you've got your properties in, and they say you follow where the Costco's go, and you're at Burpengary with the Costco, Westfields up at North Lakes, etc., and you've got properties in those areas. And Logan, they're talking about Ipswich now currently has a population of some 200,000 people, and in the next 40 years there'll be 500,000 people living in Ipswich. So do you think property's going to get cheaper because of that increase? And it's crazy.
Absolutely
it can't
not.
happen.
That's exactly right.
So it's going from 200,000 people to 500,000 in 40 years.
Correct.
Think about the numbers. It's taken 270 years to get to 200,000. But yet we're going to more than double that. We're going to 150% that over the next 40 years.
Absolutely.
So it's a wonderful opportunity to get in the marketplace, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Start early, get these incentive programs that you've got now. Let us look after you, and remember, we want to sell you the next one as well, because this is a stepping stone.
Definitely is.
It's a stepping stone. Gets you started. Gets you in the property. Gets you on the ladder.
Absolutely right. It's a great opportunity to get into the market and like you said, get that dream home in a couple of smaller steps there.
That's right, yeah.
Sure.
The one on the water.
Oh, absolutely.
And this, you've got on the screen, there's some wonderful Choice Homes designs there, and they're just absolutely magnificent, and the location, just absolutely first class. And I've been in some of these homes, and let me tell you, they're just absolutely wonderful.
You keep selling them on us straight away.
Well, we've got all your display homes on the market.
You do.
And I think we'll be able to move most of those by the end of this month.
I'm sure you will. That's great.
Any further questions for Ben and myself?
Maybe one for Ben. Just a little bit of information in regards to dual occupancy options.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, dual occupancy is I guess more of a recent phenomenon on the Gold Coast, Ipswich and Logan. I guess the area with the dual ocs is they're really clamping down with the scarcity now of estates actually being approved with dual occupancy. So if you can get into an estate that actually allows for the duals, which we have, I guess, an entirely held product there, you're in for a very, very good investment return.
I can maybe expand on that for the general audience today, because the question came through, somebody else didn't understand what a dual occupancy is. Dual occupancy is actually 5 bedrooms in one dwelling, 3 bedrooms on one side, complete self-contained with its own kitchen, air conditioning, etc., and 2 bedrooms on the other side of the building with a strata-proof wall right through, soundproof wall, fireproof wall right up the middle. We've got 2 garages, and what's important, Ben, is that they're separately metered.
Absolutely.
So you've got gas, water, and electricity separately metered. Now, the rental income from the 2-bedroom will more than help and assist with the mortgage and the total complex.
Definitely.
So if somebody's looking for a first buy option there, and they go and say, well, right, how can we also get some supplementary income? Do we put a granny flat on the big blocks? No, you've already got the second dwelling on the side that you can rent out as well.
That's
so
right.
that's a really good option for first home buyers, and it comes right under the target for stamp duty concessions.
It does.
And also first home buyers grant, it's there for you. What a wonderful question that person's running in for. That's something that I probably didn't think of. They can buy that as a first home buy, and then have a supplementary income to help them service that mortgage payments.
And we're actually building a dual lock as a display as well, so I'll keep you at the top of that list for...
It's sold.
I believe
it's sold. And so they run around the $500,000, $525,000, $30,000, and the rental income from the 2-bedroom, let's assume you want to keep the 3-bedroom to live in, and the 2-bedroom rental income would be around $270, $280, $300.
That's correct,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. I've just learned something from the question here myself today. I'll be marketing it that way.
Perfect.
Now, what you can do, if you'd like further information, you can book an appointment. We can come and see you, we can talk to you, we can arrange the application or the questionnaire to send out to you. You can do it on Skype right now. Right now, do it on Skype, or you can come back through parktrent.com.au. Please, don't let this opportunity. In my long business life that I have, Many times I said I'll get to that tomorrow, and guess what? Tomorrow's too late. And the thousands of people on the weekend throughout this wonderful vast country of Australia bought properties under option conditions. They made the decision in a second, yes or no to buy. This is put before you. We're the experts as far as putting the structure together, as far as helping with the finance, the legals. Troy and your company up there, Ben,
Yes.
Choice, are the builders that will give us the fine product. And rest assured, you will not have a problem with the quality or the timeline. They'll deliver the product to you on time, perfectly too as well. When you get the keys, I'll expect that little bottle of champagne coming back to my office. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Any further questions? Ladies and gentlemen, both myself, ParkTrent, would like to thank you, Ben, for taking the time. I know you were up very early this morning. You were telling me you crept out of the home without waking the children up. You've had the problems with the flight delays out of the Gold Coast and also flight delays landing into Queensland. But you arrived here 5 minutes before schedule going on to air. And I'd like to thank you, your management team, Troy in particular, for giving us the occasion to meet up today to do this wonderful program. And let's sail through from this, and let's see that we can do a lot of good things for a lot of people out there, help them get started. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.